Welcome to the Succeeding Over All Roadblocks Lifecast, a show about self-discovery and vibrating higher in every area of your life. Each week, I'll have conversations with some of my favorite people who are soaring over life's challenges. They'll share their struggles, but more importantly, the lessons they've learned along the way. I'm your host, Keisha Whitaker, entrepreneur and transformational speaker. Let's get ready to soar. Hey everyone, before we jump into this week's episode, I have to make a quick announcement. With the launch of the podcast, I've been getting a very warm response from friends, family, high school classmates, former colleagues, and people who have just happened across my posts on social media. I am overwhelmed by the love and support, and I just want to say thank you. And I have to give credit where credit is due. So thank you to Moji Sola Oladahim, Modu Wodu, my brother Eric Whitaker, and my sister Circle, who have been a great support and sometimes think they deserve producer credit. I might just give it to them. I just want to show my appreciation to everyone who has contributed to what you're hearing. Now, let's get into the episode. This week, it's all about the power of words. As a writer, I am intentional with every word I write because I know that one drop of ink falling like dew can inspire millions. Publicly sharing some of the most challenging moments of my journey on a platform like this is new to me. As I open up and share more about my personal experiences, I will never forget the first time that I remember words having a negative impact on my life. I want to take you back with me to Mrs. Gray's 6th grade class. Imagine we're all sitting in chairs in a big circle, and it's time for us to turn in our homework. When Mrs. Gray asked the teacher's pet Carlicia if she had her homework, she jumped up and said, "Yes, ma'am," and turned in her paper with a flourish. Next, she called on the cutest boy in the class, Morgan. He begrudgingly said, "Yes, ma'am," and passed his paper in. Then Mrs. Gray gets to me and asks the question. Well, I hung my head in shame, and I said, "No, ma'am." Her face snarled up at me, and she said, "You're pitiful," in front of the entire class. I was already ashamed, but now I'm embarrassed. I don't know why I never told my mom what happened that day, but I harbored those words and that feeling for many years. Those words in my subconscious impacted me through the rest of my school years, and dare I say, into early adulthood. It wasn't until I came across a book called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz that I began to understand and filter some of those experiences through a different perspective. This book was a game changer for me. So I want to share the agreements with you and the lessons that I learned from them and applied to this particular situation, because I often do reflect on some of the experiences that I've had once I've learned new things about myself. So the first agreement is to always be impeccable with your word, meaning always speak kindness to others and yourself. On that day, Mrs. Gray definitely was not impeccable with her words, and everyone processes things differently. Those words may have motivated someone else, but to me, they stung and had deeper implications. The second agreement is never take anything personally. It's never about you. When it's directed at you, it's still not about you. When Mrs. Gray said I was pitiful in front of the class, I took it personally because deep down, I must have believed it about myself. But maybe she said it because she was having trouble at home, or she was feeling that way in her own life. Don't let people project the agreements in their mind on you. Ever. How they feel about you is their problem, not yours. And that goes for the good and the bad. You can't get too high or too low, whether they're praising you or criticizing you. Don't take it personally. The third agreement is to never make assumptions. Because I always say, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Now, Mrs. Gray did just that. She assumed that I just blew off the homework assignment. And even if I did, it didn't warrant that response. Now, maybe I didn't understand the assignment, or my parents couldn't help me. Honestly, I can't remember why I didn't do it, but I'm sure there was a good reason. So before you make a judgment call, check into the situation and dig a little bit deeper. Always ask questions. Get clarity and understanding above all else. The fourth agreement is to always do your best. Give 100% to everything you do, no matter the circumstance. You might be sick or tired, but if you give 100% of what you do have to offer, I believe people will receive it, and you can rest assured knowing you gave your all to that situation. Now, the flip side of this story is I have to own up to the fact that I didn't do my best that day. But neither did Miss Gray. After the incident, I continued to learn and try hard at certain things, which allowed me to have some amazing career experiences in Olympic and college sports, politics, and business. But I often wondered where I could have been if those words by Mrs. Gray had never been uttered, and I tried even harder in my life. What I learned from that experience is that life and death is in the power of the tongue. You can build someone up or tear them completely down, but that could only happen if the person allows it to happen. And I accept the fact that I allowed that to happen. I've used these agreements in my life and in certain situations, and I can say the first one is the hardest to master. Not saying I get it right all the time, because I don't, but it definitely makes me more mindful of what comes out of my mouth. After that, the rest are fairly easy to apply, and there's even a fifth agreement. Be skeptical, but learn to listen. And I think that one speaks for itself. I encourage you to read the 4 agreements if you haven't, and think about all of the agreements, good and bad, you have made with yourself. What are you telling yourself daily? Are you telling yourself bad agreements? I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. Are you letting fear drive what you could have and what you could accomplish? Or are you telling yourself, I am, I can, I will, I'm smart, I'm savvy, I can do all things? Write down those agreements, good and bad, and weigh them out amongst what you're telling yourself. And evaluate how you can eliminate those bad agreements and what you can replace them with. If you like this episode and you want to connect with me, be sure to subscribe to the show and shoot me an email at soarlifecast@gmail.com. That's SOAR Lifecast@gmail.com, or connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SOAR Lifecast. I am so excited to share my experiences with you, and I hope that you will be encouraged, that you will glean something from it, and I will continue to share these little tidbits and little nuggets about myself. But until then, just keep soaring.